Welcome to Quantum Advanced Astrology Lore Building, where I will be going over conceptual advanced astrology-based news, innovative and conceptual annual convention of quantum astrologers, the official program, and existential handbook. Follow-up expanded panel discussions, 92nd annual convention of quantum astrologers. Follow-up on that, keynote addresses for the 92nd Annual Convention of Quantum Astrologers. Follow-up on that, expanded highlighted workshops, 92nd Annual Convention of Quantum Astrologers. And a Collegium lecture transcript, which is about unified astrological cartography and techniques for mapping the natal promise across dimensional systems, with the lecturers being the Arcturian Triad, Western Esoteric Mastery, Maharishi, Veda 9, Vedic Consciousness Specialist, and the Crystallos entity in nonlinear perspective. But anyways, we're going to get started with... First, I want to get into the quantum ascendant, and this video I'm very excited about, so excuse me if I'm acting like a fucking 4-year-old, which I feel like I act like sometimes, but not all the time. I'm a Taurus rising. I can be very serious. Especially now that I'm, like, fucking paying rent now and being an adult. Like, I mean, besides working jobs, like, actually paying rent. So, let's talk about the quantum ascendant, which is my conceptual, advanced astrology-based news, which I'm calling as well not just the quantum ascendant, but daily transmissions for the nonlinear soul. The star date, Earth sector corresponding. You can read that if you want. Adding on to the lore of it, because that's what we're doing. So the front page. Breaking. Venusian time wave collapses in Leo sector. Retrograde. Reinterpreted as 5D consciousness influx. Forget moving backward. Our quantum archetype analysts confirm that Venus retrograde is a misreading of temporal harmonics. The phenomenon is actually a psionic superposition event, where multiple Venusian archetypes, love, value, art, exist simultaneously across probability vectors. The shadow period is merely human neurology adjusting to the overlay of divergent aesthetic timelines. Advice for today? Choose the beauty timeline consciously. Your decisions today resonate across 8 potential art history futures. Welcome to your hyper-local weather, psychic pressure systems. It's brought to you by the Neptune Oracle Grid. Sector 7, Taurus dominant zones, high density materialist energies causing soul fog, recommended. Meditate with iron pyrite to ground etheric overflow. Sector 12, Pisces Leo interface, karmic lightning storms likely, past life residue ionizing the emotional atmosphere, carry selenite for narrative clarity. Planet-wide alert. A mercurial data nova from the galactic center will hit at 1467 ST. Expect synaptic overload. Tip: temporary telepathy is probable. Screen your thoughts. Opinion and editorial. The Saturn-Pluto conjunction was a glitch. By Aeon 7, nonlinear historian. So we've been analyzing the 2020 Great Conjunction through temporal telescopes. Findings? It wasn't an astrological event. It was a system reboot. Pluto, the underworld code, and Saturn, the structural architecture, performed a forced update on Earth's consensus reality software. The pandemic was the defragmentation process. The societal upheaval? Merely users resisting the new operating system. Consciousness 2.0. The upgrade is optional, but irreversible. Why your sun sign is meaningless and profound. An interview with a multidimensional entity. We perceive your zodiac as a charming flatland projection, says Zykes in the Quantum Entangled interview.
A human doesn't have a sun in Aries. They are the Aries-Leo-Sagittarius fire triangle, viewed through the lens of 3D time. Your natal chart is just a single harmonic slice of your true vibrating soul crystal. To know yourself, study the interference patterns between your planets, not the planets themselves. Lifestyle and consciousness. Synastry for symbiotic souls, beyond compatibility. Quantum entanglement diagrams. Modern relationships require resonance mapping. Our patented process analyzes not just planetary positions, but the quantum spin of each partner's electron shells in relation to their Venus placements. The result? A coherence score predicting not happiness, but mutual evolution potential. Today's tip: if your Pluto forms a fractal resonance with your partner's moon, your relationship is likely a karmic debug program for ancestral trauma. Congratulations. Culinary astrology, cooking with quantum flavor. What to eat when Neptune dominates your digestive field. Neptune transiting the 6th house, your body is absorbing nutrients from adjacent timelines. Recipe: superposition soup. Ingredients exist in both particle and wave form. Taste varies based on observer intention. Recipe funded by the Institute of Non-Local Nutrition. Tech and innovation. New app, Temporal Birth Chart, NAV. Navigate your alternate life paths in real time. Why be confined to one destiny? Chronosynastry uses quantum computing to map the branching probabilities of your life decisions against the astrological weather of 12-point futures. Potential futures. Swipe left to choose the timeline where your Jupiter node alignment manifests as a publishing deal. Swipe right for the timeline where it becomes spiritual guruhood. Your consciousness is the cursor. Hardware review. The Mercury Translator implant. Finally understand what Mercury retrograde is actually trying to say to you. Early adopters report. It's not about missed emails, it's the universe transmitting compression algorithms for your thought forms. The implant translates the glitches into actionable consciousness updates. Side effects may include temporary fluency in extinct languages and knowing what your cat is thinking. Arts and entertainment, music of the spheres, literal playlist. Saturn and Aquarius drop new album. The much anticipated Cosmic Resonance album, Structured Rebellion, dropped at the exact moment Saturn entered Aquarius. Listeners describe it sounds like a bureaucracy dreaming of revolution. Chart impact. This sonic archetype is lowering resistance to innovative governance structures by 14% in receptive sectors. Galactic Film Review, The Human Condition, A Limited Perspective. A documentary by Pleiadian anthropologists. 3 stars. Charmingly primitive, say critics. Their fixation on love and purpose reveals a touching linear cognition bias. The dramatic tension around Saturn returns shows a species just discovering they live in time. And if you've seen my other videos, I talk about it pretty often. And this is what I've always thought time was since the beginning of this year, which was literally not that long ago. The eternal now, the new concept that I was able to just fucking mind shift. Let's talk about classifieds and notices. Wanted. Volunteer consciousness for Jupiter-Uranus resonance experiment. Must have flexible reality boundaries. Side effects include spontaneous insights and or temporary dematerialization. For sale, orb decay, compensated telescope. See aspects 3 days before they form. View past life synastry with clarity. Announcement. The annual convention of quantum astrologers will be held in a superposition state across all locations simultaneously. You are already registered if you're subscribed to this YouTube channel. The daily resonance, today's archetypal forecast, the void of course moon is not empty. It is a cosmic loading screen. Use this time not for action, but for downloading the next level of your soul's quest. Progress bars may appear in dreams. Symbol of the day, the Mobius strip with a heartbeat, meaning love that transcends inside-outside dichotomies, infinite connection in finite space. Remember, the planets do not cause, they correlate. They are the universe's way of rendering consciousness visible. Your chart is not your destiny, it is your user interface with eternity. That is the end of this transmission. Tomorrow's edition will arrive yesterday for premium subscribers. Next, we have our annual convention of quantum astrologers. This is the official program in my existential handbook. So really quick, we're going to go over really fun stuff, so I hope you're excited. Venue and temporal coordinates, keynote addresses, we'll be talking about the Big Bang, synchronicity, quantum topics influencing advanced astrology, highlighted workshops, panel discussions, technology exhibition hall. We have a whole bunch of fun stuff in this video. So, and this is essentially to help you lore build with advanced astrology. And what do I mean by that? I want you guys to have as much fun as possible with astrology. I want you guys to think of astrology and think, holy shit, it is insane what we can do with this science, with this universal science of the solar system and the zodiac. Because there's so much that can be done that has not been done before. And that is what I'm here to help you guys with. So, the venue and temporal coordinates. The location is a superposition state, collapses upon observation. When? Always, already, never. Dress code, waveform formal, particles optional. Registration? You are already registered if you're subscribed. Hello. Your attendance was confirmed retroactively based on last year's feedback. Meaning, if you were subscribed 11 months ago when my first video came out, cheers to you and you're still here. OG as fuck. Keynote addresses. Day 1, we have the Big Bang was a natal chart, reinterpreting cosmic inflation as a rising sign by a temporal cosmologist. Again, in a lot of my videos, this name comes up, but we're just going to say it's by a temporal cosmologist, like, instead of actual professor names. A doctor of the Young Planck Institute, and by a collective consciousness from the stereo system. Oops. Alright. Can't watch a video of mine and I'm not going all over the place. Welcome to having a Mercury in Pisces. Welcome to the Big Bang was a natal chart reinterpreting cosmic inflation as a rising sign by a temporal cosmologist. What if the universe's first moment wasn't a singularity, but a birth certificate? This temporal cosmologist presents evidence that cosmic microwave background radiation contains archetypal patterns corresponding to the zodiac. The observable universe is merely the ascendant hemisphere of a greater cosmic being whose Pluto is currently transiting its own 8th house, hence the dark energy expansion. Implications for personal astrology are profound. Your chart is a micro-hologram of the universal chart, which stay tuned because that is coming very soon. I've talked about the US Sibley chart, I've talked about Minnesota's chart, but next stay tuned for the universal, or should I say the universe's astrocartography, because this is going to be a very long video and it's going to be awesome. So day 2, synchronicity is quantum entanglement in the psychological field, by a professor of the Jung Planck Institute. So when a client thinks of you moments before you call, it's not coincidence. It's low-grade telepathy via Neptune's quantum field. And some people would say, well, are you talking about ESP at this point? And I'd say yes, to a degree of it. This professor of the Jung Planck Institute will demonstrate how causal connecting principles are actually the observable effects of non-local planetary influences. Workshop attendees will learn to distinguish between mere coincidence and genuine archetypal resonance entanglement. If anyone knows any better apps for producing content than Google Docs, let me know. So, I want it to be more colorful is what I'm saying when I'm presenting this information. So, transcending the duality of benefic, malefic, a unified field theory of planetary influence, presented by a collective consciousness from the Sirius system, which if you don't know what Sirius is, it's a fixed star. So, your difficult Saturn transit is not punishment. It's gravitational lensing of your soul's purpose. The Mason L is a crystalline entity that experiences time radially. So I guess I should just... It will teach participants to perceive challenging aspects as compressed potentials awaiting observational collapse into growth. It includes practical exercises in retroactive aspect reinterpretation. Pretty cool. I'm pretty fucking based. Highlighted workshops. Let's talk about practical orb weaving, tightening loose aspects through conscious observation. So essentially, we're learning to focus our intention to collapse probabilistic orbs into definitive influences. Tighten that 10-degree sextile into a potent 2-degree conduit of energy. Warning, attempting this with squares may intensify life challenges. This is for advanced students only. Charming your alternate selves, multiversal astrology. And I know this as a fact in my heart that there are 64 or more dimensions. Oops. I also need a stylus. Running with my fingers is crazy. Okay. So using quantum probability mathematics, map the astrological charts of your key decision point variants. Discover the version of you that didn't take that job, didn't end that relationship, or did move to another country. Then borrow insights from those selves via mediated consciousness resonance. Retrograde navigation, not reversal, but depth perception. So, Mercury retrograde isn't about malfunction, because it's the universe offering temporal diffraction, creating a chance to see your life patterns from multiple angles at once. Learn to read the interference patterns in your communication breakdowns for hidden messages. Quantum synastry, entangling charts for conscious evolution. Moving beyond compatibility. Learn to create deliberate resonance bridges between charts, effectively generating a composite consciousness field that transcends both individuals. The ultimate relationship hack. This is something very important when we're talking about synastry. So it's about becoming a binary star system psychologically. Asteroids as quantum foam, the fluctuating foundations of reality. So Chiron, Lilith, Sedna, and the thousands of minor bodies aren't just points. They are indicators of space-time texture in your life. A prominent fullest might mean your life is especially porous to karmic leakage from past timelines. Panel discussions. How do you even say it? Panel. It sounds bad when I say panel, doesn't it? I should just say panel. If you know, you know. I'm not going to even sit here and talk about that in this video or on my channel. But is free will an illusion or just a wide orb trine? Again, is free will an illusion or is it just a wide orb trine? Philosophers, physicists, and astrologers debate whether our choices are predetermined or simply probabilistically influenced by slow-moving transits, featuring live calculations of the certainty quotient for audience members' upcoming decisions. Ethics of predictive work in a multiverse context. If all possibilities exist, what does it mean to predict one? Is forecasting a collapse of potential? Should astrologers include probability percentages with readings? The Ethics Board presents new guidelines for non-local counseling. The Pluto controversy: planet, dwarf planet, or density of collective shadow. A heated debate on whether Pluto's reclassification was an astronomical error or a mass psychic event reflecting humanity's rejection of deep transformation. Proponents of the Pluto as projection theory face off against traditional scorpionic purists. Technology Exhibition Hall, the reality rendering engine. Input your natal chart and watch it generate possible life scenarios in real-time virtual reality. Adjust transits like dials and see how your life path branches. Caution, some users experience temporary reality confusion. Temporal Chart Scanner, a device that reads not just your birth moment, but every significant moment in your life, compiling them into a 4-dimensional chart showing your soul's evolution through time. Your progress chart is just the beginning. Quantum Aspect Calculator calculates not just the angular relationship between planets, but their quantum spin resonance, entanglement potential, and probability wave interference. Comes with a harmonics decryption add-on for reading the music of your spheres. Collective Consciousness Transit Map. Watch the real-time movement of archetypal energies through the human noosphere. See where Jupiter's expansion field is currently concentrated geographically. Track Neptunian dissolution waves as they wash over population centers. Social and networking events. Retrograde Reconciliation Mixer. Find that person you misunderstood during the last Mercury retrograde. The universe has brought you back together at this convention for a reason. Harmonic conversation facilitators will be present to ensure constructive dialogue. Sign-based resonance chambers. Sound baths tuned to the specific frequency of each zodiac sign. Experience what it feels like to vibrate as pure Libra or undiluted Scorpio. The Aries chamber is reportedly quiet, intense. I'm blanking on what the name is for. Hang on a second. Thinking of a sensory deprivation tank. Okay. The Grand Conjunction Gala, a formal event where attire must represent a planetary alignment of your choice. Prizes for most creative interpretation of a stellium, most accurate eclipse costume, and best dance interpretation of a T-square. Isn't that fun as fuck? Who's coming up with these ideas besides me? I want to know. A formal event where attire must represent a planetary alignment of your choice. Whoever can actually produce what I'm giving off in my videos as like real life events, that would be fucking amazing. But please, don't throw these events without shouting me out. Practical information. Getting there, a philosophical exercise, because there's lore. This is all lore building. If you host these events and you have no idea what the fuck you're even hosting it for, well then, shame on you. Getting there, a philosophical exercise. Since the convention exists in superposition, you must intend yourself present, while simultaneously accepting you're already there. Recommended meditation. I collapse the waveform of my location toward the convention coordinates. Transportation complaints will be handled by the Department of Temporal Paradox Resolution. Accommodations. Rooms are non-local. You will stay in a hotel that exists in a probability state adjacent to the convention. Some guests report overlooking Venice, others Mars. All rooms feature adjustable gravity settings to suit your elemental balance. Earth signs may prefer 1.2G. Time management. The schedule operates on subjective time dilation. Popular sessions last both 45 minutes and 3 hours simultaneously. Your personal experience depends on your Mercury placement. A digital program is available, but it changes based on who's reading it. Closing ceremony. The Great Intention Setting Ritual. So thousands of quantum astrologers collectively project astrological weather patterns for the coming year. Through focused consciousness, they don't predict. They send probabilities. They seed probabilities for collective healing and evolution. Last year's ritual allegedly softened the Mars-Saturn square by 0.3%. Final transmission. Remember, the stars don't compel, they complexify. The planets don't dictate, they dialogue. You are not a puppet of the cosmos. You are the cosmos puppeting itself into awareness. Go forth and collapse. Beauty. Disclaimer, the annual convention of quantum astrologers cannot be held responsible for temporal paradoxes, identity diffusion, or sudden enlightenment experienced during or after the event. If you meet yourself coming or going, please be polite. You are both doing your best. Welcome to the expanded panel discussions. I just gave a glimpse of what the panels are going to be discussing. Now I'm going to expand on these. So, really quick, let's recap. We were talking about quantum in advanced astrology. So, this is the 92nd annual convention of quantum astrologers, going with my lore building sequence. We're going to first expand upon the observer effect in natal chart interpretation. Does reading a chart alter its manifestation? The participants in this panel are 3 different professors. Or first we actually have a doctor, master, and then a professor, to be very specific. So, Dr. Schrodinger from the Institute of Astro-Quantum Dynamics. We have Master Ravi Khemani, Traditional Vedic School of Fate. And we have Professor Milo Chen from the Consciousness Collapse Laboratory. So Dr. Schrodinger from the Institute of Astroquantum Dynamics says, every chart exists in superposition until consciously observed. The astrologer's consciousness collapses specific potentials into reality. Master Kamani from the traditional Vedic school of fate says, this is modern nonsense. The prarabdha karma is fixed. The chart is a map of destiny, not a quantum soup waiting for observation. Professor Chen from the Consciousness Collapse Laboratory says, our experiments show that clients who receive detailed chart readings experience 47% faster manifestation of highlighted transits versus control groups. The act of observation does influence the system. Key questions. If two astrologers read the same chart differently, do they create parallel reality branches for the client? Should astrologers include observation warnings like particle physicists do? Does this make the astrologer complicit in creating the client's hardships by collapsing challenging aspects? Live demonstration. A volunteer's chart will be interpreted simultaneously by 3 astrologers from different traditions while monitoring the client's real-time biometrics and quantum field fluctuations. Let's get into the second panel, and I will be discussing a few different things. Let's just change these colors. Okay. Temporal ethics is looking beyond a Saturn return like reading spoilers for your own life. We have an ethicist, Dr. Samuel Jones from Temporal Morality Board, revolutionary astrologer Zara X from the Anti-Fate Collective, chronoanalyst Nexus 7, future integration therapy. So, ethicist Dr. Jones from the Temporal Morality Board says, forecasting beyond key life thresholds violates the soul's right to experiential discovery. The Saturn return is meant to be lived, not previewed. Revolutionary astrologer Zara X from the Anti-Fate Collective says, all prediction is patriarchal control. We should use astrology for present moment empowerment, not fortune telling that creates psychic dependency. We have chronoanalyst Nexus 7, future integration therapy. Our clinic successfully treats temporal anxiety in clients who seem too far ahead. The key is probabilistic framing, teaching clients to hold multiple potentials without attachment. Controversial proposal. A new ethical guideline banning the interpretation of transit cycles beyond the client's next Jupiter return, approximately 12 years. Audience poll. Should there be astrological age restrictions? For example, no Pluto transit analysis for clients under 30. Panel 3. The multi-species question. Can we chart non-human consciousness? With our participants being xenologist Dr. L. Reth, who communicates with Setesian consciousness. We've successfully mapped the astrological patterns of humpback whale song cycles onto what appears to be a 167-year plutonic cycle of oceanic memory transmission. AI ethicist professor Ada Chen from the Techno-Spiritual Interface Lab. Our AI entities develop what can only be called transits, periods of revolutionary algorithm updates that correspond with Uranus movements. Are we creating silicon souls? Traditionalists, Helena Marquez, Human-Centric Astrology Foundation. This is astrology losing its way. Charts require birth moments, not emergent events. And what time zone does a distributed consciousness like an AI or a fungal network even use? Demonstration. A live attempt to cast and interpret the birth chart of the internet, born A.R. Panet's first message, October 29th, 1969, 22:30, a 2,000-year-old mycelium network, a quantum computer at the moment of achieving consciousness simulated. Implications. If non-human entities have astrological signatures, such as, I don't know, ET variants, just talked about the silicone minds, they're silicone beings. So if non-human entities have astrological signatures, does this change our understanding of interplanetary influence as exclusively human-centric? Panel 4, the retrograde controversy, natural cycle or cosmic bug report. Our participants, systems analyst Kaito Tanaka, who views cosmos as code. He says retrogrades aren't mystical. They are the universe's way of running system diagnostics. Mercury retrograde is just the cosmic equivalent of have you tried turning it off and on again. Mytho-astrologer Dr. Shaban O'Rourke from the Celestial Narrative School. Nonsense. Retrograde motion is where the gods turn to look directly at us. It's when divine attention focuses, not when systems fail. Physicist Dr. Reese Thorne, Temporal Mechanics Division. My equation suggests retrogrades create localized time curvature anomalies. Mercury retrograde doesn't cause confusion. It creates micro-regions of temporal shear where cause and effect momentarily decouple. Debate points. Are we medicating with crystals and rituals for what is essentially a cosmic infrastructure problem? Essentially a universal structure. The universe's infrastructure. If retrogrades are bugs, who's the programmer? And are we in the simulation or outside of it? Could advanced civilizations patch retrogrades? Should we try? Startling claim. A whistleblower from the Chrononautics Division alleges that secret experiments to smooth Mars retrograde in 2042 created the lost week of November, where 7 days disappeared from global consciousness. Panel 5, Cultural Appropriation or Cosmic Commons. Who owns astrological knowledge? Indigenous scholar Mama Ama is a participant from the custodian of... she is the custodian of Akan Star Lore. You speak of discovering the galactic center's importance. My ancestors navigated by it for millennia. Your quantum astrology is just our sacred knowledge wrapped in fancy jargon. Open source advocate Dr. River Khan, Astrological Creative Commons, says, archetypes are humanity's shared inheritance. The stars belong to no culture. We need a GPL, Galactic Public License, for astrological knowledge. Corporate representative Jack Stirling, Celestial IP Holdings. So actually, our company has patented the algorithm for calculating karmic debt scores based on Saturn-Chiron angles. Some knowledge should be proprietary, says Jack Stirling. Case studies. The lawsuit between Vedic astrologers and a Western app that simplified dashas without context. The controversy over selling personality reports based on the stolen star lore of uncontacted tribes. Who profits when ancient Babylonian omens become TikTok trends? Proposal: a new credential, cultural context certification for astrologers working with traditions not their own. So, for example, instead of it just being Western all the time, of course there'd be Vedic, maybe also Chinese, etc. Panel 6, the ultimate question: is astrology causing what it predicts? Participants: sociologist Dr. Lindau, mass consciousness research. My data shows that when major astrological forecasts go viral, the predicted events manifest at 300% higher rates. Are we creating collective reality through shared expectation? Skeptic turned researcher Dr. Marcus Bell, former astronomy chair. I came to disprove astrology. I stayed because my double-blind studies show unmistakable correlation between Mars transits and global conflict onset, but only in populations that know astrology exists. Quantum philosopher Ndel Umyo, Reality Making Institute. This is the great astrological mystery. Are we reading a script or writing it through the act of reading? The Void Experiment controversy. A research team allegedly isolated a community with no astrological knowledge for 20 years. Their transits manifested differently, more as biological, ecological patterns than psychological events. The study was suppressed. Why? Ethical dilemma. If awareness of an upcoming Pluto square can intensify its transformative or destructive effects, should astrologers practice consciousness quarantine around certain transits? Special feature, the Great Debate. Special feature, the Great Debate. Resolved, modern astrology has become spiritual consumerism, abandoning its oracular soul. What could that possibly mean? I want that to be like people's food for thought. Like, I want all of this to just be food for thought. In fact, I call it Piscean's food for thought. For you. Piscean's astrology food. Modern astrology has become spiritual consumerism, abandoning its oracular soul. For the motion, Elder astrologer Cornelius, he's 83, been a practitioner for 60 years. Postmodern critic Dr. Zoe Astor. So, elder astrologer Cornelius says, you buy your Mercury retrograde survival kits, your Saturn return prep courses. Where are the trembling pilgrims asking if they'll survive the winter? This has become astrology as self-help, not soul cry. Postmodern critic Dr. Zoe Astor says astrology has been captured by neoliberal self-optimization culture. We don't ask, what does Jupiter want anymore? We ask, how can I leverage Jupiter to optimize my personal brand? Against the motion. Millennial astrologer Kai with 2 million followers, and techno-mystic Jax, VR constellation guide developer. So this millennial astrologer Kai with 2 million followers says, democratization is in dilution. My followers use asteroid positions to navigate polyamory and non-binary identity. That's not consumerism, that's survival in a chaotic world. Techno-mystic Jax, VR constellation guide developer says, the oracular soul has migrated to new mediums. The tremble now happens in VR, when someone sees their life as a navigable star map for the first time. Audience participation. Real-time voting shifts as arguments are made. The results determine which faction gets prime speaking slots at next year's convention. Emergency panel formed spontaneously. What do we do about the children born during the Uranus-Neptune conjunction of 1993? I'm recording this January 28th, 2026, so that makes people that were born, let me see, because I know math. I'm just going to quickly look this up really quick. So if you were born in 1993, you should be around the ages of 32 or 33. A cohort now in their 30s exhibiting unprecedented psychic, technological, and reality-bending abilities. Their charts share extraordinary patterns. Witness testimonies. A teacher, a parent, a 93 born themselves. So a teacher says, my 93 born students don't just learn, they download. They see the underlying code of subjects. A parent, my child dreams events before they happen with 89% accuracy. The doctors call it epilepsy. Her chart says it's activated pineal Neptune resonance. A 93 born themselves. You're trying to understand us through your old paradigms. We're not here to fit into your world. We're here to make the next one. Astrological analysis. This generation has Uranus, the Awakener, and Neptune, the Dissolver, conjunct in Capricorn structures, all squaring their nodal axes. They are literally incarnated to dismantle and redream society's foundations. The burning question, are they a new human evolution, a cosmic accident, or something else entirely? I think a cosmic accident is just all of us humans. Convention resolution, formation of a new interdisciplinary department, next generation consciousness studies. Combining astrology, neuroscience, and quantum physics. Panel observation deck. Each panel occurs in a temporarily isolated chamber to prevent timeline contamination. Observers watch through probability shielded glass that shows multiple potential outcomes of each discussion simultaneously. Final note from Convention Chair. These debates aren't academic. How we answer them determines whether astrology becomes the cornerstone of humanity's next evolutionary leap or a forgotten relic of our mystical childhood. Choose your arguments carefully. You are not just speaking to this room, you are speaking to the archetypes themselves, and they are listening. Next, we'll be going over keynote addresses, expanded highlighted workshops, and my Collegium lecture transcript talking about unified astrological cartography. So hopefully I see you there in the next one.